All right, we have our movie guru here. I'm actually excited about hearing more about this movie because one reason, I'm gonna just say it, Mark Wahlberg.
right. Marky Mark is in the film.
Marky Mark.
Yeah. He's on a special assignment. He's the guy who is hired to go and get the grandson and bring him back home safely. So who else would you rather have doing that?
No one.
Marky Mark.
I
Maybe
love
Liam
Marky
Neeson
Mark.
once in a while.
Oh, I'm okay with that.
But didn't he sign off? Didn't he say he was no longer going to do that kind of thing?
Oh,
maybe just so they could offer him a little more money.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that, but I'm excited about what you think on the
about all the money in the world. Well, you're way too young to remember, but this is a true event that happened in the early 70s. I don't know if you folks are familiar. J. Paul Getty, at the time the richest man alive, or the richest man ever, his grandson was kidnapped and he was held for ransom. And of course, ransom thrillers always get me going, so I was very excited about this. Let's take a look.
What could be more thrilling than a true story about a ransom?
$17 million. All they will take is eye, his ear, the hand, and don't tell me you don't have the money.
It could only be more exciting if the wealthy individual refused to pay.
We need to pay the ransom, Mr. Getty.
I do not have the money to spare.
But it's not like this old man doesn't love his grandson. He does, just not as much as his money. If J. Paul Getty had a tarnished reputation before, Ridley Scott and Christopher Plummer have smeared it forever with all the money in the world. No one can become the richest man on the planet by being generous with their funds, at least not in the movies. That's not to say that the billionaire does nothing for his heir. He hires his own personal assassin to bring him home. And for all we know, this may be a better move. It's certainly more frugal.
No one has ever been richer than you are at this moment. What would it take for you to feel secure?
More.
Most are probably too young to remember these events. Anyone who does may get caught up in the accuracy depicted in the film. But for the unacquainted, I highly recommend this experience. There's a strange irony in that Christopher Plummer comes across more evil than the kidnappers, but that's also what he's being applauded for. Not to be overlooked, Michelle Williams also puts in a very earnest performance. I've always been partial to true crime, so naturally the Lee-moji is smiling on this one, even if the ending felt a little open-ended. Either way, it won't cost you nearly as much as the title may suggest, so I suggest you go out and see all the money in the world.
All right.
Yeah. It's a recommendation, not a high recommendation, just because you hear all these great things, so you go in expecting a lot. But had I been just grading it on a level playing field, I would have liked it. So
that sounds really good, and the fact that it's based off of a true story, that makes it even more intriguing for me.
And it's something, if you're not familiar with it, all the more reason to go see it.
Exactly. Well, if you don't have any New Year's plans for this weekend, this might be something you want to check out.
Welcome 2018 with all the money in the world.
All right. Well,
that's
and
a
Mark
good
Wahlberg.
New Year's resolution.
And Mark Wahlberg, yes. Thank you so much, Lee.
You're quite welcome.